Good morning, afternoon, evening, or night, whatever time it is by you. Hope you're having a good day. Looks like we got ourselves a March in the Machines game. A couple of things that I noticed just off the back. Obviously, I definitely like the new coloring. It's not as bright. It feels a lot easier on the eyes if you're somebody who stares at this for a while. That's always nice. I think it's typical. They reset all the quests all the way across and they drag over yours. And let's sneak a peek at the Mastery Pass before we jump in. We did get the Mastery Pass, which gave us this cool looking kitty cat, I think. It could be a dog. It's got three tails instead of three heads, but it's still got a Phyrexian look for sure. They also gave us the Elspeth profile on the cards, so we'll take a look at that, and the kind of stagnant one. These look like the new orbs that you're going to use in the Mastery tree. They look pretty cool, a little like oily kind of corrupted kind of thing. I like it a lot. And then typical, rundown. I think there is what looks like four cards that are of the mythic nature. No, we're not going to be doing this. What are you, crazy? Um, Catilda and Lear, whenever you cast a human spell, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard, and then it gains flashback. So you get to recast something back out of your graveyard. So pretty cool, a little different in the colors, triome kind of color over there, but still something that, I would say probably more useful after turn 3. Uh, Maybe something like a turn 5 or turn 6 when you've got some human spells in your hand and you've got some spells that you've already cast in the graveyard. You got a combination of those two, you'd be in good shape. Put this thing down on turn 4 or 5 and then cycle out a human and then recast something on the back end that makes that human much tougher. Um, we do get a draft token. We're not waiting for that because we got gold coming out of our ears right now. So we will be spending some of that gold. We get a chunky bear. Oh, I did. Okay, that is going to be my avatar for a while. I like that pet. I have no idea what his animation is going to be, but it's good. It looks like they're going to give us a Slimefoot and Squee at about the midway point on the battle pass. And whenever Slimefoot and Squee enter the battlefield or attack, you get to create a 1/1 Sapperling creature. Nothing super powerful about that. It's kind of got the Squee thing mixed in with this, the Slimefoot. You can sacrifice this card and return up to one other target creature card from the graveyard directly to the battlefield. Act only as a sorcery. Only costs a total of 4 mana. Still in the 3 colors, but that's not a bad reanimator. You can kind of stick him out there, maybe get a blocker with like one of the Sapperlings in order to keep him alive for a second. That way, if an edict comes down, you've got like a sacrifice material, and then yeah, and then I think you flip him into whatever's in your graveyard. Another triumph. If you can't tell, they are trying to get us off the dual colors for constructed, from what I can see. Whenever one or more creatures you control enter the battlefield this turn, and they deal combat damage to a player, you get to create a 5/5 red dragon spirit token with flying. One of the key things I would notice is there's no, and then it dies at the end of this turn. You still have the Goro Goro creatures you control gain haste, but instead of having to have 5 mana ready, hit somebody with extra damage, and then use the Goro Goro to create the 5/5 flyer. Now you just get it. Whenever like a combat creature that you enter the battlefield this turn deals combat damage. So anything comes down, you use the 2 mana, doesn't tap Goro Goro and Satoru. Haste goes on to that creature, he attacks, you make a 5/5 flyer to go with. 5/5 flyer, pretty solid token on the back end. Looks like little goblin forger kind of deal. I dig him too. The furnace host Aki. What was the bear's name? The Icarus Berino. Yeah, I take. And then what was this one? The Noxious Stinger. Okay, so let's check out the profile. Let's spice it up. We've got all this green stuff that from back when we were playing green all the time. I think we'll put on an Elspeth, right? Why not? And then I think as far as pets are concerned, we're going right here with a Noxious Stinger. Rawr, 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 rawr. Did we get another pet too? I don't think so. We had this one that they gave us from the beginning. So Noxious Stinger it is. And I like to look at one more thing before we jump in. We do have 3 draft-in tokens. We do have 1 sealed-in token, and then we have what looks like 3 Premier Draft with gold that we can buy in before we kind of start looking at the gem situation. So we will be drafting on this account, and that will be the number one way we're going for acquiring cards. And we are going to try to get some wins too. One of the things I've noticed is the new like sheet that goes along with where all these older rare cards mostly, I mean it's all uncommon and above, but they're mostly rare cards, and then a few mythics that are mixed into it. They're kind of doubling the rares in each pack. And since people don't 100% know, what the strategies are, it seems like everyone's playing bomb centric. They're trying to gather in those extra rares, and then they're just trying to get one of those rares on the deck, and then whomever draws that rare first wins the game. That that's what I could see in the pre-release as far as a way to go. If you look at, oh look, we're already there. We already got 2 cards on the deck. If we click on March of the Machines and go with looking at, we'll just do both. That's fine, and kind of stick in the rare and mythic set category. There are not a ton in this set, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's not a lot for a single color. I feel like, seeing 2 full colors on one page feels light as far as the rares are concerned and the mythics are concerned. Um, then you get over here and you start to see like there's a few more multicolors, and some of them are just enormous, right? Just enormous. Yargle and Multani is just awesome looking card. I don't think it's going to win a lot of games. It's just a fun one. Quintorius is something that you have to kind of build around. I've seen this one's kind of cool. You get to steal the abilities from the opponent. Don't think this one's as powerful. Draw 3 cards and then put 2 of them in your hand in any order. So it's got kind of a nice, card advantage ETB. And then when it dies, target opponent loses life equal to the mana value of the card that you exiled. So you exile the top card of your library in hopes that you get like that extra little boost. It's okay, flying 5/4 flyer for 5, not bad. Not bad at all. There's some mythic kinds of stuff that are in here. Return 3 permanent cards from your graveyard directly to your hand. Can make for really nice. This thing is nutty from what I've seen. You can convoke, and then you get +2 on it for each thing you can convoke. So there's 7 possible convokes that you could do, which would give you a +14/+14 on top of a 6/6, which is a 20/20. That's nutty. Vorinclex is pretty solid. After it flips, I don't think before it flips it's much. So maybe not the best card in constructed, but it's probably pretty good in limited. And then you just kind of keep your eye out for things like this. When Invasion of Akora enters the battlefield, you search your library for a non-human creature with mana value X and put it onto the battlefield. So kind of neat, getting a 2 for 1. But more importantly, flip this sucker. Now you've got for each non-human creature you control, you can have that creature assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked, which means it just doesn't get blocked. It just does its damage every time it gets through. An 8/8 that can't be blocked, along with not being able to block any of your other creatures. Yeah, this is a bomb. Like, no doubt about it. That's a bomb. Incubate twice X, where X is the number of lands you control. That can be a real big bomb later in the game, especially if you've got 8, 9, 10 lands. So if you've been building towards that ramp strategy. Phyrexian decks love bloated processors. They create Phyrexians. They get +1s when they sacrifice Phyrexians. When it dies, it turns into a massive incubation kind of Phyrexian. And then this card's just busted. So, not a shocker that Shieldred's busted, but she be busted. Essentially, she enters the battlefield, you have to sacrifice a non-token creature. Then you can flip her for 5 and 2 health. So that's not bad, considering you guaranteed, or 4 and 2 health, considering you definitely have the 5. And then it's still in black, too. Her flip color is the same color as what her cast color is, so you don't even need to have the Phyrexian mana on the 2 health. I kind of said that wrong. And then this gets nuts. For each opponent, destroy up to 1 target creature they control, and then each opponent discards 3 cards, and then mills 3 cards, and then all creature cards from all graveyards come into the battlefield under your control. Game over. Like, it's just game over. I don't know how else to describe that. So, yeah, if we see one of these Praetors, we're probably going to just jump right onto them, just because they just seem nutty as far as what they do. This thing flips, it's game over. this thing flips, it's probably draw equal cards in your hand. You have no maximum hand size, so you're just doubling the amount of cards you've got. Return all non-Phyrexians back to their hands, and then you can cast any number of spells from your hand without paying any mana cost. That's gotta be a game too. That's so bad. Convoking this is interesting, but it's so expensive. I probably wouldn't take this rare. It's one of the few rares that I think may not fit. But almost every other rare, especially stuff like this, like, we could have some fun building around them a little bit. Planeswalkers, I have only seen Ren and Realmbreaker, Archangel, and Chandra. That is it. So, unlike the last set where there was just an endless amount of planeswalkers, it looks like we're going to try to really dial back the planeswalkers and dial up the sieges. So battles that are sieges come down, you have to attack them. When they flip, you get a chance to get something. So you kind of get like, it's kind of like a saga with something to do in the middle of it. Or somebody described it as a reverse planeswalker, as an example. Reverse planeswalker, like you cast a planeswalker and then you can use it. You don't get anything for casting it, but if you keep it alive, then you get chances to do things, right? Reverse planeswalker would be you cast it, it's your job to kill it. The opponent can just ignore it if they want to. And then when you kill it, you get things after it's dead. So while it's alive, it's doing nothing. But when you cast it, you get the ETB. And then when it dies, you get the card that comes out of it. And this is considered recasting another card too, which is important in some things, like ETB effects or when you cast a whatever kind of, an artifact card, right? This would trigger that artifact cast. When it enters the battlefield, you exile a target non-land permanent an opponent controls that isn't exactly 2 colors, right? So anything that's got 3 colors on it or 4 colors on it, no. And then when you come back, if you've got a bunch of 2-color cards, boom, you can just kind of get those. You can reveal cards that are exactly 2 colors, put them in your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your library. Probably the weakest of all of them. This one's kind of a build around and constructed too. This is really, really tough to cast in limited. So those are some of the cards that we probably aren't going to lean into. Cards that we definitely would lean into would be things like Glissa. I definitely like some of these bombs that are coming down. I think that if we could cast a bomb or two, it would be really tough. And then we'll have to be really close attention to the mana fixing because some of these like Talia, Gitrog, our first touch, Death Strike, just almost impossible without a removal spell to beat. And then the other thing is, all these other creatures come down, they are tapped. So, adding an extra turn, essentially, to before they can block is just insane. So they have to have blocks for your attacks 2 turns early. And that's almost impossible to predict. So this is a game winner, even though it doesn't have the biggest of stats. Some of these big guys just need 1 removal spell and then they're toast. But it does look like removal is it's a little different in this game. There is stuff like this that just says destroy creatures, but they're 4 and 5 mana to get there. And the stuff that's in the 2 and 3 mana are a lot like the burn spells. -3s, -2s, -4s, but that's it. So if you end up with one of these studlicious looking 12/12s, you're probably safe from about half the removal that's in the world. And that's pretty good. Right. It's also something that we should consider too when we're playing is if we get our hands on a destroy kind of removal spell, we should probably hold on to it for the bomb because everyone's going to have bombs in this format. There is not going to be the ability to kind of control the rares. The question is just do you have enough bombs that you can draw them and cast them? That's going to be kind of the name of the game. At least that's my take. Let's find out if it's real or not. So we'll go in and we will check out. Whoops. We're going to jump into our very first draft here, guys. We might as well. Premier Draft, we have the draft tokens, but we also have the gold. And I think we're just going to spend the gold here on this and try to build up some gems. If we can get to 3 wins, we're going to feel like it's a huge positive for us because I love turning gold into gems. I think that's one of my favorite things to do. If this happens, it's okay because we'll get the cards. Color pairings, I'm sure you've seen a million videos before, but just to refresh my memory, white and blue like knights. Knights are kind of like your new soldiers. they're creature cards that have pump spells for other creature cards that are going to hit the deck that are knights. So you really need a lot of knights to get the most out of it. If you can pull it off, it does seem like it's a pretty aggro-y kind of deck, a way to kind of get a lot of bodies go wide and continue to push the attack. And so it might be a good answer to the bomb situation that's happening in this, but we'll find out. I haven't seen a ton of rares that really make the knights insane. So I think it's kind of a break glass in case of an emergency if you just can't find anything that looks like a winner. Graveyard Mill does not look very good yet. Someone's going to figure out how to use it, but I don't think I've seen it yet. It does look like there's a few reanimators in there, but for the most part, the triggers are like, this creature gets +3 when there are 8 cards in the graveyard, right? 8 cards in the graveyard is totally doable. It's just not something that you want to be waiting for to happen just to get a +3. Battles are going to have 4/4 creatures. There's going to be a lot of 18 sixes and stuff like flying around. You're just sitting around waiting 2-3 turns to get +3 on a creature. It's not a winning strategy. Sacrifice does look really, really powerful. A lot of the sacrifice stuff that I liked were things when you sacrifice them, you make an incubate token. And the reason why I liked that was because, you get the sacrifice trigger, you get the death triggers. So you'll get like the +2s or, drain them for a life, you gain a life, or, whatever the case is. But if you get that incubate token that only costs 2 more mana, and now it's a body that's on there, a 3/3 body, a 4/4 body, some of the sacrifice stuff is nuts. So if you get the right sacrifice deck, you can go off. And what I've noticed too is a lot of the sacrifice triggers are in black, and a lot of the sacrifice fodder is in red. Cheap guys in red are good for convoking. Cheap guys in red are good for sacrificing. But the black guys have the triggers that go off, like the +1s when something goes into the graveyards and those kinds of things. So there is a sacrifice theme that you could kind of sub into anything that's touching black. And with black having the kind of removal that it has, I think that there is like a sacrifice might be a very powerful mechanic that you don't always see in red and black. Battles are cool. Battles are tough. You have to have like a nice balance between what you're trying to battle and what you're trying to flip. And sometimes that flip is not that easy to do. +1 counters looks amazing. This is definitely one of the easiest, to acquire. There's lots of backup kinds of stuff where you get to drop the +1s on other people. There are cards that give out 4 +1s. There's just a lot of things going on there, and I have really liked the look of a lot of black and white. This Orzhov coloring, where you get Phyrexians, and then there are lots of incubate tokens which make more Phyrexians, which makes more, like Anthem kind of effects. Things like Menace in an Anthem effect, things like Vigilance in an Anthem effect, things like +1s in an Anthem effect. I kind of like the Phyrexian maybe a little bit more than the Knights. Just because of that ability to create the Phyrexian so easily with the incubate features that are available that's on there. So pretty solid right here. And then Sculpted Perfection is a really good card, as well as a lot of great rares that are powerful in white and a lot of great rares that are good in black. I say good because, yeah, they're like, a rare that will be a battle and kill something. Like it's just that little extra kind of piece that can kind of help you out. So I think you can control the bombs a little bit easier with the Phyrexians because of the removal kind of built into there too. Convoke is tricky but interesting. You can cast really expensive spells by just tapping your creatures, so you just want to make sure that you're controlling the board as much as possible. So there's a control element in Convoke because you're just not going to be able to deal the damage as fast as they are. And if they're coming out with, flipping battles and putting +1s and creating incubator tokens that are 3/3s for every 1/1 that they sacrifice, like if that's what you're facing, you're going to have to really control all that stuff coming at you with your spells, because your 1/1s ain't going to be around too long to convoke. Incubate's kind of neat. Definitely like green in this deck too. My I think my general rule is black seems to have the best removal in limited. So I kind of like black, and then white is just behind it, along with maybe white is kind of tied with green as far as the ability to have like pretty good common and uncommons that kind of build out what's going on. And then backup is just kind of cool. It's kind of like I definitely like the Boros coloring as well. And when I first started doing some of the test drafts, I thought blue-green looked really, really good. Transforming your creatures is, I guess, the theory that's involved in this, although you could kind of say that a lot of the cards that ask you to transform would be good with the Phyrexian deck, and they would be good with the Phyrexian deck, yeah, maybe the Convoke deck if there's the ability to do it. So transforming is kind of neat. I don't think this is an enchantment deck like it's been in the past. I haven't seen like the real heavy lean into artifacts and enchantments, and this is artifact deck and this is enchantment deck. I've also seen that like there is some burny kind of removal in almost all the colors. Blue's removal looks a little clunky. It's mostly like minus X, minus 0. So you'll still have this really good blocker that's sitting up there, but they won't have any offense that are left. But it's really cheap. It's 2 mana to do most of it, right? There's a few bounce spells that are built into blue. So there's some things that are familiar, but nothing that's like earth shattering. Anyway, we are sitting in platinum right now in ranked just because we were doing some Kamigawa stuff on the quick drafts before. And now we're going to fumble our way through our very first March of the Machines draft. So in 3, 2, 1, let's go. We be waiting. Let's see who's coming. We be ready. It's always that last guy, man. It's never. Carl, Q Dog, Frog. Okay, our rare that we drafted is the sacrifice rare, but it's pretty strong. It deals X damage for everything that you sacrifice. I do like that quite a bit. And then the other card that we were going to get was the Surge of Salvation, which is also really strong, sort of anthem effect, preventing any kind of spell from doing a ton of damage. Deadly Derision is probably the best removal spell in the game that's in the common category. And then Tandem Takedown is a very close second. If we weren't rare drafting, I think that I would be leaning into one of these two. There's not a lot of other green of value that's in here. This thing lets you surveil 3 and then kind of pull 1 if you put the right card that's up on the top. But we're still early in the format, so we're going to let the bombs, we're going to let the draft kind of take us in the direction that we want it to go. Unfortunately, these removal spells, as good as they are, we're going to hope that we can wheel some others that are out there. Other things that would wheel that would be really good though would be the hex one, this one right here. Okay, so we got another rare. It's a companion card, which means each permanent in your starting deck has an activated ability, and then those activated abilities are going to cost you 2 less. So this effect can't reduce the mana in that cost to less than 1. So essentially, you'll have the ability to use like Swamp Cycling for 1, equip creature for 1, kind of a lot of stuff that's involved in that, which is pretty cool. And I think that we'll take it. I don't know that this is the right card to play necessarily. I still have this Phyrexian Censor, which is really, really good. Each player can't cast more than 1 non-Phyrexian, and then they enter the battlefield tapped. This thing is a beater. If we were trying to win, these are like white is looking pretty strong in here. So we'll take the rare card just because we're rare drafting, not because we're trying to win 100%. But this is definitely my these two I think are the two that I would be leaning in the most. They don't necessarily synergize with our first pick, which is more of like sacrifice a creature in order to deal X damage and then keep going. But oh no, I didn't click on it. It gave me the removal spell. You dirty rats. Whoever was in this pack also was doing the rare drafting. We have a Flying Lifelinker. Whenever you cast your second spell, you get to look at the top 3 and put one of them in your hand. So it's like a draw. So that does actually work with the sacrifice guy because of the fact that we're going to have relatively cheaper cards across the way. This is an invasion, and it's in red, and it would be like I sacrifice a guy and get something out of it. I do think that the Phyrexian Awakening Incubate 4 isn't bad, but remember you still have to put 2 more into it, so it would be like a 5 mana for a 4/4, and that's not ideal. A 2/4 guy who can help shut down the skies and give us lifelink along the way would help us flip battles in the future, really move us in the right direction. So definitely going to take that. And we have another rare. This one has Convoke built into it. There is a possibility that Convoke is still a thing for us. I kind of like this card on the transform side of things. it has got the ability to transform. And this would have been really good with that rare, that fox that we saw, because this is an ability to transform, and it would cost 1 to transform. So we'd be able to transform super, super cheap. That's on there. Transforms into a 3/3. You got to put a +1 counter on that token, and then another one. Um, I kind of like it. It's not ideal, but I think I'm just going to take the rare and see if red becomes the direction that we want to go into for like a sacrifice convoke kind of strategy. This is definitely pretty good in the sacrifice deck because you get the incubate 3 along the way. But again, we're looking for bombs and we're staying open right now. We're not leaning too hard. Menacing with the mill deck strategy. This was the +3 that I was mentioning before. And the uncommons up here. This invasion's off color, and this raccoon. I mean, I think there's a really good. It's kind of like a magmatic sprinter in reverse. So he comes out and attacks and gives the +2 instead of the 2 oil counters, and then that card zips back. So if you have cards that have really nice ETBs, you know, it's pretty cool. This could go really well with our deck if we end up getting some of those, Orzhov, incubator tokens that are coming out. So I think I'm going to take the 2/2 flyer. It's evasive. It's in the color that we'd be looking for, and there's not a lot other here that would drag me in another direction. Good for flipping battles and stuff like that. But we're kind of sticking with the blue-white coloring if we can. We don't have to, but if we can. And then we've got an interesting combo. I do think black is definitely going to be our color since we kind of like what we're seeing in black so far. And this guy's toughness is equal to your devotion in black. And then you can take 2 cards out, and then you gain a life for each card. So a good little life gainer, a really good blocker for middle or late game kinds of stuff. I do think that we're taking a Timurit as a defensive card, not necessarily a target for uh, sacrifice. This would be a good target for sacrifice because it gives out hexproof and it gives out a +1. This one's not really a target for sacrifice, but it does have the backup life linker, so it does give you the ability to heal. But I think that these are, I don't say weak, but they're just not strong. How's that sound? Second Realmbreaker Grasp is a really solid removal spell in white. We have another flyer over here that will help us draw cards back out of the graveyard. It can be nice if we're trying to get battles or creatures to sacrifice kind of deal. But I think we'll take the removal spell just because 2 mana to enchant a creature and stop it from attacking is the anti-bomb theory that I think we're going to have to lean pretty heavily in. So we'll take our second Realmbreaker's Grasp and be pretty happy, and then boom goes the dynamite. It's not a bomb, okay? But it's a really, really good card from what I can see. Sculptor Perfection enters the battlefield. You get to incubate 2, and then all your Phyrexians gain a +1, right? So Phyrexians look like him or her. I never really tell. But we have a Phyrexian, and more importantly, we have the ability to incubate. With this card, I definitely think I would take this enchantment as just a way to kind of keep the Phyrexian guys under control. So other cards in our color that are Phyrexian that we'll want to keep an eye out look like this. That's the bounce spell, by the way. Oh, we did wheel our Surge of Salvation, which was one of the cards that we liked a lot. We have a Nightmare card over here that has backup 2, and it has Menace. This would be an interesting card to help us get these double black pips going along the way. Since we have so much leaning into the black kind of deal, we can use the swamp cycle that's over here, or we can prevent damage from black and red sources. I think I'll take the big guy. I don't see a lot of like big beefy guys over here yet, so we'll take the big guy. This is a battle, and then 2 target creatures get +2. Nothing's crazy about that. We do have a piece of equipment over here that doesn't look amazing, but it doesn't look horrible either. I probably am going to take the battle, mostly on the rare draft kind of side of things, just because it was the uncommon, and then we'll get a chance to play with it outside of this and see what goes on. Nothing of real value in here. We might as well take another red card. I'm 4 mana for a ++ for till the end of the turn. Just doesn't seem like anything amazing. So we'll take the coming in hot. I actually think that there's a world where this card is really, really good. It doesn't take many of. This is a Phyrexian, by the way. So for 6 mana, we could put a target card from the graveyard to the bottom. But I think we're going to take the lookout and kind of stay in our colors. If we can put +1 counter on that thing, it becomes really tough to deal with. Another uncommon, not really in our colors, but we're grabbing it. And then we're grabbing a Kite Sail as a possible play. Ren's Resolve kind of reminds me of those, draw 2 kinds of spells. An Invasion of Karsus. It deals 3 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. Hello. Other cards that I like, really good for a sacrifice target, get a chance to take a card from the other player. And then this Lurtai as a companion. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, you get to copy a spell you control and cast it again. Pretty solid over there. But I want to play with some battles, and I think I'm just going to end up taking the rare battle over here. In white, we have a Bola Slinger, which is a good tapper. This thing turns into a Phyrexian, so we're hoping to wheel this or this as both good sacrifice kinds of creatures. We could take a Final Flourish too if we end up with some more 1/1s. We're a little high up on our curve right now. I don't see anything in the 2 mana and below that I think like for sure is in good shape. So we're going to take the Invasion of Karsus, put it down here with like a sub-themed red, and see how we go. Another invasion coming our way. It's kind of a way to draw a blue card spell, really expensive. I don't think I'm going to take it. It's one of the first rare cards that I feel like is probably a bad idea for us to do. We do have this Phyrexian flyer, which would be a 3/3 flyer with our enchantment that's out there. Also allows us to transform incubate tokens. And so we've got a theme kind of showing up over here. And then this guy transforms into a Phyrexian, and then whenever he deals a combat damage, you get to draw a card. I think this Aetherblade is actually really good. It kind of comes out early as a nice way to like slow down some of their stuff. I think I'm probably supposed to take this, but I'm going to take this instead. The extra mana is a big deal. And another rare. And another rare. And another rare. Okay, so backup 1, Trample. When this card deals combat damage to a player, you get to look at that many cards from the top of your library and reveal them. We're definitely going to be taking that rare. Phyrexian Awakening does kind of fit in the incubate stuff, and it provides vigilance to all of the other Phyrexians. It's another turn off that we would have to take. A 1-drop and a 3-drop. Again, if we were trying to win and we weren't trying to get some value out of this, we would definitely be looking at one of these two and probably be looking at this. But I'm going to take the rare. Again, I would rather have a pile of cards with extra rares and see if we can't eke out 3 wins or 4 wins kind of deal. So we'll take this and see where it goes. Another rare. Red and instant and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. Whenever a white instant or sorcery spell causes you to gain life, it deals 3 damage to a target player. Holy cow! Well, there might be a red deck waiting for us inside this thing. That's so cool. I'm taking that. I didn't even know about that. Other sacrifice fodder over here. Sacrifice fodder, nice with the backup, so it can kind of hand off the +1, and then sacrifice his way out. Uncommon is in blue with some Convoke. If we're trying to splash, we might end up with a couple of Skitterfangs just to see, but I'm kind of digging this card, and we're starting to look at our red getting big. This is that Cleric, which I thought was pretty cool. Kind of turns into a squee after you flip it. This is that sacrifice fodder that's down there, and then we've got a black-red card. Okay, we're going to end up splashing some red. I think we're just going to take this. I know it seems crazy, but I'd rather splash some red into this and have some fun at the top end of our deck with some extra red stuff. So, yeah. Looking at you, kid. I kind of like this one too. If we see some more mana fixing in red, I think that we might want to lean in towards that just a little bit. The caves themselves are certainly nothing to go after, but I kind of see some fun happening at the top. There you go. A Phyrexian Artificer. Creature tokens you control have haste. We need 10 more playables, and we're pretty much at the halfway part right now. So I think we're fine to take another rare here. I think I don't think I need a Bond Warden more than like getting the value out of the deck here. And I think this is going to happen in a lot of these drafts. You're going to get into here, and you're going to find that like you got out of the draft with like 8 or 9 rare cards, which is like what? um, Billy Rider, Marauding Dreadship, or Convoking Flying Haste 4/4. I kind of think that we should take the Billy Rider or the Marauding Dreadship. Um, Hate to say it, but I'm starting to really like our red more than I'm liking anything else. Uh, we'll take this. We're going to stake at the black-white. We're just trying to splash the red. We've got the removal spells in here. Right. Okay. I think we take our third pacifism kind of removal. It's only 2 mana versus the failed conversion over here. We do have a white-red card that helps us splash as well, but if it's really hard to pass up on removal to do that. So I think we just take the Realm Breaker as a really solid N. We get 2 options in here. I kind of like this one more than this one. This one you can turn into an incubator token later, and it would go pretty well. This one you could transform for 4 and have a trampling 4/3. I guess I'll tell you what, I'll take the incubator because he kind of fits our theme a little bit closer. Uncommon red-white, when creatures you control that's enchanted or equipped, they gain double strike. Really solid if you've got that ability, but we don't. I guess we'll take the tapper as a way to just kind of control the ability to attack in, and we wield the Sky Warden, or we have the 1 mana creature. I have a feeling the Sky Warden's actually going to have a better place in our deck. We're not a ton in the world of incubates, but we could be. First striking, 2/3 in red. Probably liking that more than either of these cards. So we'll just take the red card. And then this thing is pretty solid at flipping battles along the way. This thing is just a cheapy card, so we'll take another red card. And we'll take a blue card. And we'll take an auto select. So the Invasion of Ikoria is one of those like busted kinds of cards that I really, really like. Obviously, looking at green in this one, this thing is kind of neat. It's a 2 mana 2/2 that can transfer over into a Phyrexian Fungus at 3. It's not the greatest. We've got more of these things just floating around, but we wheeled the last one, so I think we're going to try to wheel it. Let's just take the rare again. A Phyrexian Censor, though. Ooh. No, we're going to take the rare. Phyrexian Censor is good. Causes all their non-Phyrexian spells to come down tapped. We're going to have to splash in some red, and we're going to have to hope for some, lower to the ground kinds of stuff to get a chance to fill out this part of the deck here. We've got 3 removal spells, and then 3 bodies down here at the bottom. I'd like to have 6 to 8 bodies down here at the bottom. Some decent middle ground. Ah, look at you. Look at you. That's an awkward splash. I can't not take it. It's Glissa. It transforms incubator tokens. I can't pass that up. It's just, I don't know. Let's see if we can make a green splash out of this, and then we can take this out and just leave all these reds. If we don't, then Glissa comes out of the deck, and some of these reds come in, and we'll be fine. But, yeah, we're pretty happy about that. At the beginning of combat, on your turn, you can incubate twice or transform all the tokens you control. Like, whoa. Blue, not the color that we're trying to do. Phyrexian Awakening is just about making all your Phyrexians have vigilance, which is good. Definitely think this is pretty good. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you get to gain a life, and he's a good defender. He kind of sits nice, as like the defensive strategy that we're looking to do in here. We don't have that sort of killer bomb at the top, though, and I'm a little scared. Black-white's good for mana smoothing, but it's not going to help us splash. Um, would you help us splash? Very expensive way to help us splash. Guess we'll just take the sacrifice fodder that tosses out a +1. It's in the low end of the curve. It kind of fits with our rare over here as far as like fodder to splash. Um, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. Creatures wise, I feel really solid. You know, creature counts 1, 2, well, let's just look. 15 different creatures. So enough. Ah, here's a big guy. I guess we'll take a Yargle, right? This thing's nothing. So Yargle looks pretty good. If we wanted to really stay in this kind of green-black incubate world, but we just don't have enough, and I'd rather push the splash number farther down. So this is really good. Um, Double the number of +1 counters on an incubator could turn something into an insane incubation strategy. But a 5 mana that can come down and be a 9/3 threat is pretty solid too. We could even slap some wings on it and turn it into a flying 9/3. Gift of Completion does kind of fit the incubate, and then whenever friction you control dies, you get to surveil. It's not bad. It does affect the board. This thing's kind of like a removal spell built into a creature, and he's a Phyrexian Samurai. This is a battle trick along the way, and then this is another one of these tappers. I guess I'll try the creature at the top. White green, that's going to help us splash. Oh man, I took that way too fast. I wasn't trying to do it like that, but whatever. Um, a Phyrexian that can incubate in our colors. We're starting to kind of get those playable cards that we needed. Other, kinds of things is a removal spell, but it's really janky, so we'll live without it. And look at you. Look at you. This is our pack, and it has the green splash, but we already have the ability to smooth out some of the green splash. So I am definitely happier to see this than this. It's close, but each player can't cast more than one non-Phyrexian spell, and then non-Phyrexians enter the battlefield tapped. We have a lot of Phyrexians, so that's kind of cool. This is not a bad one-off card to own either. It's going to give us the ability to kind of sneak a peek at their hand, and then also get an Incubate 3. Really good way for us to get some stuff going. 4 mana that creates or 2/2 and then another 2/2. Or target opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life, and you've got 5 toughness. I guess because he's a Phyrexian, right? Like, let's just make it hard for them. If you want to make some Convoke guys, this is the spell for you. And I think that this is the spell for you. Come on, get in there. 27 cards. We've got 2 lands that are over here. So we're definitely going to make a deck at this point. Imperial Charge could be a fun little battle trick. Travel Historian is a solid 2/2 or 1/3 that can hand out haste along the way. I guess we'll take the card in our color, although I don't think that that's going to help us that much. And then a Beat Stick. Okay. So let's sneak a peek, and I really want to practice a little with these cards. I don't want to be making all the mistakes at game time, if that's possible. Cards that are of note that are not in the deck right now, just to point this out. An uncommon aura or equipment gives it the ability to create a 3/1 with trample and haste. So you put 2 or 3 things on there, you end up 2 or 3 things coming back out, which is kind of cool. An invasion that deals 3 damage to every creature and planeswalker. That includes your creatures too, so a little bit scary to play, but when you flip it, when you cast a spell, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. So just a nice way to sort of whittle down on your guys. If you're about ready to attack in, I can kind of see this as a finisher. If you think you can flip it with a spell, and then on the next one kind of start using spells. When you cast a spell, you get to deal 2 damage. So if you've got a lot of little guys, maybe you're in the Convoke kind of side of things, this can definitely be kind of neat, but you still need to flip. right? You still need a way to get that thing done. And then in green, we ended up with two pretty nice rares as well. One of them is this, which whenever a creature deals combat damage, you get to look at that many cards on the top of your library, reveal one of them and put them in the hand and put the rest in the bottom of the library. So just an amazing card advantage as long as this guy can get in and get home on there. He's got trample, so if you've got some battle tricks that give him like pluses, you can do the over the top and kind of turn him into sort of a just a they've got every reason to want to block this guy, and you've got every reason to want to keep him alive. So definitely pretty solid. And then late game, need a bomb. This is the definition of a bomb. And so, unfortunately, it came in the wrong color for us. It didn't show up where we needed it to. But that's okay. We also picked up a Brutaclad Telcor Engineer. I've never, don't ask me, don't know. But creature tokens you control have haste, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, you get to create a Phyrexian Mirror artifact. A Phyrexian Mirror? Didn't even know such things existed. Then you can choose a token you control, and if you do, each other token you control becomes a copy of that token. Um, I'm trying to think like these incubate tokens are tokens, but they're just 0/0 tokens, so they may not be the kind of thing you want to incubate your way like into success on there. So that might not work. We'll see. We'll get a chance to see. And then we do have this piece of equipment over here, as well as an uncommon battle that gives 2 targets +2 and vigilance and haste, right? When you flip it, you get to create two 3/2 red and white warrior tokens whenever this creature and at least one other creature attack. Put a +1 counter on these creatures. So that's the kind of tokens that would work really, really well with this guy right here, right? So you create a 3/2 token that also gives +1s when it attacks with others, and then you've got 4 or 5 of them, and so you're handing out 4 or 5 +1s as you attack. Wow. Wow. So kind of a killer combo looking over here. Um, yeah, and there are enough red cards to replace a color if we wanted to. Unfortunately, there are not enough green cards to do that, but if we wanted to like splash blue and swing in red instead and maybe take out the black, black does seem like it might be our weakest color. If it wasn't for this Glissa, oof, I would be considering this. Anyway, 43 cards with all of our lands in here. We have black red to help us splash red, and we've got green white to help us splash green. I do think that we should consider this splash because of how strong the flip is that's on here, not necessarily how strong um, the battle is itself. And this is another battle that we should, I don't know, double whites or double reds kind of tough. And then this would require a lot of convoking. It's definitely a bomb in the sense that like something gets home, it does triple damage kind of deal, which is super cool. But I'm not so sure that's the right answer. Now, let's take a look at Phyrexians. Our Phyrexian count looks great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not 6. 6 when untransform. I guess this one's untransformed too. Affects them 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a lot of Phyrexians for this kind of deck. I kind of dig it. I kind of dig it. Yargle and Furja both would go in for sure. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, look at the top 3. So we do have enough. Our overall curve right now is 3.4, which is scary, scary, scary. But Gloomfang can come down with just 2, right? It doesn't have to be the big bomb. If it becomes the big bomb, it's a 7/7 menace, and that's excellent. So as far as common are concerned, this is one of my favorite cards just coming into the set because I can use it to get a very necessary black mana if I need, or I can hold on to it and give backup twice to something that like probably needs it. You know. We would have looked at a lot of the lifelink cards and said, gotta have it. And unfortunately, the only lifelink card that I can see is right here, right? I don't think this thing gains life. This thing gains life. Oh, well, okay, we have one. Oh, that's kind of neat, actually, now that I think about it. And I wonder if this counts as a white card that's lifelink. Okay. I do like this if we're going to splash in the battles too. Hmm. Oh, right. All right. This might actually be pretty great. Being able to just kind of ping 3 extra damage every time one of these gets home or blocks, every time one of these gets home or blocks. This is just anytime you cast a spell, you get to ping a damage. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, no, no. We're doing this. You're staying. Faux show. Um, okay. Okay, okay. So creature counts at 21, and there are 6 non-creatures, and you're one of them that we don't need for sure, right? Other cards that I'd like to consider moving out of here. I know you're a Phyrexian. I know you're a creature. But you're just a 4/3 that dies into a 3/3. Like, you really don't have a lot of synergy with what we're trying to accomplish around here. And neither do you, unfortunately. Except for the backup with the +1s. Hmm. We might get rid of both Billy Riders. Turns into a 2/2 with an extra mana later. Can drop off the +1, and when this creature dies, you can put the counters on a target creature you control. So you can give it to itself to make it a 2/1 and try to beat down as a first play, or you can drop it off on something like a flyer that is more evasive. That's going to get an opportunity. If you've got a lot of white cards, if you've got a lot of black cards, the +1 here and here wouldn't hurt. And putting something like this on a Death Toucher, like a 3/3 Death Toucher, would be pretty solid as well. From what I can tell, this card would go away and transform into another card, right? And so you wouldn't be able to leave the +1s on it after the flip. This thing is a sacrifice another creature or artifact, and then it deals X damage to a player, and you gain X life, where X is the sacrifice permanence value. Or you can transform her, and then at the beginning of combat on your turn, you return up to 1 target artifact or creature from your graveyard to the battlefield, and it gains haste, and then you exile it. I really like the transform version of her. So since we're not going to get the most amount of effect out of the first part of her card, she may be the cut. This one, yeah, no, I think we cut that battle just because we're a little scared of battling it out like that. And I think that we're going to keep our 3/4 removal spells, right? And we have a life linker kind of guy. I do think the Phyrexian kind of deal we're going to keep. So we would be get rid of something that's not a Phyrexian, and it's this Billy Rider, if I'm not mistaken. It's either this one or this one. Excuse me. It's a pretty good blocker, though. If it catches a +1, it's a 2/4 that essentially can block, and trade with anything that has 4 toughness. That's pretty solid for 3 mana. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, but I don't want to lose anything up here. I lied. I'll lose that guy. All right. So, scary as far as colors are concerned. We're splashing 1 red at 5 mana and 1 green. I'm sorry, 6 mana and 5 mana, right? So we're splashing pretty late in the game. I do think that with the double whites and the double blues, we probably don't want to go too crazy in getting rid of blacks and whites and reds. I think that just 2 sources of each and just pray that we get the right one might be the right answer. Well, let's figure this out, right? So we would need 20 cards to get one. Like that's the there's 2 in there, and there's 40 total cards, so that would give us a 5% chance. But if we can get to turn 13, We could kind of guarantee it. That's too low. We have a lot of double black pips. I guess we would come up and come down and come up. Because if we can get Glissa out, she's just going to start doing some crazy stuff. Incubating twice, transforming all the incubate tokens. Phyrexians you control gain first strike and death touch until the end of the turn. Like, we have the Phyrexians. She's going to boost the Phyrexians. We can make more Phyrexians with the incubate tokens. So yeah, I think that's our deck. I think we're going to go with the Phyrexian themed deck. And maybe we should consider bringing this guy back in and removing the Bolus Slinger. Three average. Did we get any cool card sleeves that have animations on there? Not really. She's a Phyrexian. We'll just do that. And here's a key. There we go. And there we go. So there's our deck. And just to recap, as far as rarity is concerned, we picked up 1, 2, 3. We picked up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so what did I say? You're going to walk out of here with like 8 different rares, and it's going to be nuts. We put together a Phyrexian themed tribal kind of deck built around the idea that we've got these anthem effects for Phyrexians. First touch and first strike and death touch, +1/+1s along the way. She doesn't have a Phyrexian theme into her. Phyrexian Censor is anti-Phyrexian hate that's on there. And then we've got some basic removal that's on the cheap side of things. We've got some, evasive flyers and some beefy blockers down here at the bottom, depending on how long the games go. So, Phyrexian Anthem effects, some life linkers that are good blockers, and some cat-like flyers as far as our evasive. This is our only beefy body on the ground, and we don't have a good answer for how to get it in necessarily. And there's a sub-theme of incubate that's going on in here. So the lifelink sub-theme has the ability to trigger here. Trigger, let's see, here. Anybody that comes in will trigger it. Trigger here. No, maybe not actually, because that thing's good there. So yeah, we've got a few things that would give us some lifelink along the way and allow these things. I'm thinking more along the lines of if Daxos is out, every time we cast a creature, it's also a 3 damage to a target creature or player. So we can use this as a win con to kind of ping out with some of the lower kinds of guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different creatures to cast. 5 different creatures to cast down here at the bottom. Some hate on their hand, some hate on their creatures, an enchantment that sits in the back that causes an anthem. That's everything that's not a creature spell. So, going to be kind of fun if it works. 4 colors, probably huge mistake as far as consistency is concerned. So, we're going to try it with the bots. And the hard part about this is the bots we don't have the other cards to fill in to just say like, let's go. So I was thinking of just sticking some of these other cards in here as a way to just, again, practice on the cards that we've got. Kite Sail sounds good. And let's just throw some of the red cards in here just to get an idea of what they look like. Invasion of Karsus sounds fun. Valduke, maybe. We have some equipment in there. The Historian is a cheap guy. Reinforcement is a cheap couple bodies. Boomstick, kind of fun. Coming in hot. Little spell. That should be enough, right? We have a total of 17 lands in the deck right now. We want to get 7 more added to it. Oh. None of these cards are playable in Standard. Well, that's going to make it hard to learn, but that's okay. They're not tricky to use. And then we'll go here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That puts us at 24 lands. We should be at 26 if we want to make life consistent. And then we'll put in some more red cards, I guess. Yeah, we need 3 more, huh? Oh well. Let's just make them land. There you go. How's that sound? Good? Don't get mad. Don't get mad. Bot match, just to practice. I want to see what it feels like to take out. Oh, sorry. I want to feel like what it take out a battle or two. I want to see about incubate tokens. I want to see Google Business, whatever. They're so bad. Okay. Nothing on the early side of things, but we'll just say keep because we're just trying things out, right? Attached to a creature when it ETBs. We don't have a creature. He's got a wall. Put a historian out there. He comes down with haste. He can tap and give haste to whomever comes down with. This guy will become a 3/3 if I drop that onto him, which is kind of nice. And since we don't have anything else to do this turn, we might as well do it. Wham! And then we can say all attack, but he's just going to get blocked by that wall of runes. Unsummoned. 3 to attack. Wow, that's actually a pretty good card. So, Bane Splitter is good as a trick on the way in, not so good on the way out. Here we go. And we'll say next, next, and we'll say no. And end. Now, obviously, having a Death Toucher, if the goal attacks here, we're going to attack in because he will. Yeah, see, the goal didn't attack. They're not stupid. That's what I will tell you. No need to do that. We'll do this. Putting a +1/+1 on, say, the Bolus. Let's do it here. Give that thing there. Go all attack. That thing says tap somebody. We might as well tap. What do you say? You. Whenever this creature attacks, tap an artifact creature. Is that what? What just happened? Oh, that's right. I put the +1 over there. So I got 2 taps. It doesn't just give it. It lends it, and then it comes back. What? Yeah, we can put it on here. Something tells me that that's going to work out just fine. And we can put it right there. I thought that backup ability was pretty impressive. Can throw that out there. I guess. We don't have a lot of offense coming our way just yet. Just want that green. Back up when this creature dies. You get to put its counters on something else. I kind of dig this. You could do this. Target creature gains first strike until end of turn. I like that as an instant spell. That's pretty solid. So let's go next. And next. And this and this. Right? And then who do you want to tap? Probably tap. I don't know. Nobody's really a threat. Oh, yeah. Amazing. Okay. Is it castable? Doesn't tell me how much mana that is, though. So I guess we'll say cancel. Just all attack it. Tap that. I like this card. Hmm. And they're just going to get both blocked. Doesn't matter. Why would... Oh, because he was afraid of losing. I was like, why would they give up the 5? Well, let's see. We went through 18 cards, and we didn't pick up a green. And we definitely... Hey! I wonder if that counts as a -3. Ooh. I bet it does. Let's see. Yay! We killed something! Well, we didn't draw any removal spells, and we didn't get an opportunity to do a lot. Okay, we can do this. Go here, like that. Go next. And then Phyrexians gain first strike and death touch. Transform all incubator tokens or incubate twice. Probably just incubate twice, right? Can hold you back. Can flip you, and then go next. And that might be game. Gliss is an important part. City of Fire is not so good as a convoker because you need the red. They'll give you 1 mana of the kind of mana they are, right? The Phyrexian invasion is upon us. They gave us Phyrexian land and 3. March the Machine Pack. First of everything, not a shocker. A little bit of a shocker, actually. And oh, just a never-ending line, and it's only 4 to flip. 4? Ooh, you could just go nuts. You could just go nuts. Sacrifice creature, kind of cool. Sacrifice, synergies. I don't know. Maybe cool. Draw a card. Cool. Oilcaster. This thing's new. I haven't seen it. Trample and Prowess. Transform it. Activate only as Ethiel. He gets Prowess, Prowess. That's not a stutter. It's a Prowess, Prowess. So essentially you cast a spell and it gets +2. That's awesome, actually. This thing feels way too powerful to be a 2-mana 2/2. Whew. That is the red card you're looking for. Hey, a Convoking blue control-y. Never going to play it. Sorry. Just not going to happen. Yeah. I think he's actually good, especially in some of these. Hello, the Knight Errant of Eos, a convocable 5-mana creature. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library, and you can reveal 2 creature cards with mana value X or less, where X is the number of creatures that convoked. So, 2 creature cards with mana value X. So if like you use 3 guys to convoke, then you can look at 3-mana creatures along the way, which is pretty solid. Yeah, no, this thing looks amazing. Put the revealed cards into your hand and shuffle. I definitely like it. You might whiff, but it's not the end of the world if you do. Let's try one more of these. Obviously, seeing the Glissa sit there for as long as we did means that our splash everything strategy may not be the best one. Unfortunately, we have no white. Okay, I want to see how bad it gets. So far, so good. White mana? Not white mana, but out you go. 2 more mana would give us the ability to transform her, and that would be pretty awesome. I don't feel like trading her with the Windrake. Just take the damage. Whirling Turtles. Yeah, this isn't going to go... Whoop. Cancel. Wrong card. My bad. I don't have the white mana to cast. Okay, we're just going to reset this one. We're just too far behind. They got 5 creatures on there, and we've got nothing, and they will be hitting us for what looks like almost lethal. And so we'd have to take care of 3 threats in 2 turns. That's not likely to happen. So, definitely not the hand we'd want to keep. Mana Screw does look like a real thing here. Maybe we need to cut out a color and stop dreaming so big. I feel like the color we'd cut is red, by the way, but we'll see. We'll see. We do have a Swamp Cycler, which is nice. Come at me, Red. Come at me, boy. We'll put a Historian out to catch him. Sure. Might as well. Alright, we did get this, which is going to help put this out. We could Swamp Cycle. We'll let him attack, and... Oh, I can still cycle, huh? Cancel that. Yep, you'll make another one. I get it. Hey! How dare you? Hey! Dude hates my tutu. Like, with a passion. Well, good on you. Let's take a look and see what the Incubate 3. Yeah, like I'd rather Incubate 3 than take this thing out. Yeah, we'll just decline. And then I can wait until they're going to attack. I mean, something to consider. It's a 2-mana 3/3 eventually. Mm-hmm. 2 more. Yep, yep, yep. I really want to flip this thing. Dang. It's not the end of the world, but it would have been nice. Come at me with your 3/3 damage. And nothing really important to get rid of on there. This is kind of cool as a decent blocker. Make it hard for them to come at us. And then now we've got the ability to double spell here, right? And so this thing will create more 1/1s, and I just don't want to deal with it, to be honest. And that thing's just going to get us a +2, but we're close enough now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we just hold off on that. So we'll click next. I forgot we only had 1. So I'll attack this. Get rid of you. Go to next. Go to next. Yeah. No need to get the black. I think we'll just hold off. Okay. 2 damage coming our way. My turn. We got a Phyrexian Censor. Each player can't cast more than 1 non-Phyrexian spell, and non-Phyrexians come in tapped, which is better. 4/3 that dies into a 3, a flyer that can. We'll have a lot of blockers on the next turn, right? So we might as well put the Censor out because it just, to me, doesn't look. And we might as well do this too. I know the dream's alive to get there, but we'll do this too, and then we'll say all attack, and we're going to flip this. Bye-bye. And that's going to give us 2 more blockers. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Alrighty then. 1 Beantown boot stick. When it's 2 to equip, so it's 3 total mana to spend. That would give us 3 total mana left over, which would give us enough for the Sky Warden to come in. So let's go. I kind of dig this card. Let's see. Tap you. +1s, just like I thought. Ooh, flipping a battle. Flipping a battle has its pluses. We'll say no to block on that. Yay! I'm just putting something out there to put something out there at this point. And we can tap, I guess, you. Oh, those things are so delish. Out of nowhere, we made up a board presence. Like, out of nowhere. And that is definitely the reason why we have to splash. Because it doesn't look like the synergies between the cards matters nearly as much as what the bombs do when you get a chance to cast them. You throw a bomb out there and it's like game over. So, that means that we were probably on the right path going into this. This is definitely the bomb once it flips, right? So we'll put you out early since we don't have a 1 mana to cast a spell, but we do have a black mana that we want to do. Oh, look at you. Never didn't have it. Coming out. Oh, we got a little Ichor Drinker going on over here. I kind of like him as a card machine more. I think I'm just going to put this guy out here. And then this guy out here. I'd say no. I'll attach. I'm going to flip him. I'm going to say no. Just because I want to get the card draw. Um. Yeah. Yeah. It's like a fight removal spell, right? We don't need that. Excellent. Yeah. Let's go. This guy's getting wide here. Oh, it's already flipped. Oh. 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 This is nuts. This is nuts. Yeah, we just say no. Okay, so some fun things that can happen. Because these have red, we have the convoke ability, right? So we could throw, convoke, auto pay out the rest. If a source would deal damage to a player, just deal triple that damage. What is that? What is that? We can just do this. We can do this. And then... Oh no! Oh no, I don't want to watch! Ah! Minus 38! Okay, new set's fun. Sorry. New set's fun. A lot of things have to line up for us to be able to cast that card, but that card is a busted. Definitely think that we should consider abandoning some of the Anthem themes in the Phyrexian side of stuff. Let's go back for a minute, just to while we're still decompressing from that. What a blast! What an absolute blast! Um, Here we go. What would this deck look like if we took out like the white? We'd lose all our removal spell. That would be hard. What if we took out the black? Ah, man, I really liked this. This card is so good. You flip this card and oh my god. Oh my god. 3/3 Death Toucher. Tough to deal with. Put some wings on it. Holy cow. Holy cow. I think you definitely belong in the deck. We have a problem getting up and over kind of deal. I think you are definitely worth putting in the deck. I think you might not be. And I think you might not be either. We need like some red convoking-ish cards. Oh yeah, oh yeah, that'll help on the convoke side for sure. He would help too. and then you're just an incredible bomb. So let's say that we did get rid of the black. Oh, shoot. And we splash 2 colors off. Bullet Slinger's really good. So this is what a red-white deck looks like. We could probably live without coming in hot. And we could probably... Huh. Probably want to get rid of the Phyrexian sensor, huh? Now, as far as Phyrexians are concerned, we're down to just those, right? And these are all Phyrexians in black. You can kind of see the black themed Phyrexian piece with the white stuff. We got a lot of little guys to convoke this, and then we've got this to help make something like this get over the top. This thing is also going to help us convoke quite a bit. So we would fix all this mana for sure. Could we splash a black? We're not going to splash 2 blacks, but we only have a single black here for Glissa. Not the easiest splashing creatures. It's a lot on these cards, but these are good cards too, right? So this card doesn't fit our Convoke world because everything we're going to have is going to be little and cheap and scary. I don't like this deck as much as I like the other deck, but I can see how the power at the top is better. Like this and this and this are better than the 3 rares that I would be replacing them with. But I think I can still hold on to this. And I might even be able to hold on to this. Three 3.0 with only 12 creatures. Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't fit. We learned a lot, but we didn't learn enough to say you must go. I did learn that I like Kitesail a lot, though. That was worth. Ichor Drinker and these are really good. This is good enough. This is not good. I don't think it should come back. I think it stays away. I do like that. I do like that. Okay, so I'm only splashing 2 reds, right? And I'm only splashing 1 green pip along the way here. I'm playing 17 on the lands, which is good. And I've got almost everything of value back in the deck here. We're at 3.3. It's a little high because this is really more like a cycler most of the time. But if it needs to be a big guy at the end, it can be. I really want to practice this card, though. Yeah, we haven't seen the Sculpted Perfection come down yet. We've only seen this battle get flipped and then the Convoke get used once. And it was really fun. As far as defense is concerned, I'm a little little scared, but the Bola Slinger outperforms. The Phyrexian Censor is going to do really good too. We need that card in there. What would we like to get rid of? Probably this. I honestly think that this card just doesn't do it. Get rid of both of them. Bring in the Defector. Now, when we look at Phyrexians, we see that we've got quite a bit more. Removal spells, good defenders, makes a Phyrexian. Yeah. Bam, bam. No, we're going to say done. We'll definitely mess with that mana in a minute. All right, bot match. I know these aren't the most exciting things to watch. Apologize, but sorry. Work. Okay, we'll throw a red. We can put some reinforcements out. Unfortunately, we don't have the ability to attack with 1/1s into a 2/2, so we'll say no. Little incubator, positive attack there, even up the score. We can bring out the 2/2 when we get the mana back. We have a 4/3 that we can toss down 2. Would love to have been able to attack here. It's okay though. Don't worry about that. That little guy. Sculpted Perfection giving out the plus anthems on the Phyrexians. Going to turn out to be relatively useful here. Okay, so they've got a trick, right? And the question is, do we die to the trick? This guy gives out the +1 life each and every time. I hate it. So I'm just going to chump that. I'm willing to die to that because we get the incubation token over here, right? And if I spend the mana here, we leave ourselves... Do you still tap? You can still convoke as you're pacified. Oh, what? That's crazy sauce. Yeah, we'll just activate. And we'll activate. And it's nice because they're getting the +1s from the Sculpted Perfection, right? As far as attacks are concerned, we could attack. But I'm just going to hold off and say no. It just kind of prevents some damage on their side. I definitely think that we lose this because he's going to plus on the way in. So I think we just chump it. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's see. Let's just throw it. we're definitely set up now to be Scary Marys. Say no blocks. Totally flooding out, unfortunately. We'll hold you back to stop some damage. Does an insane amount of damage. It's like a 9 hitting. That's fine. Ichor Drinker. Kind of funsies. Another Phyrexian? Vampire? Phyrexian? Don't forget the Phyrexian. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. Sure. Why'd I say sure to that? Well, I'll put you out there. That's fine. Put you out there to incubate. We activate. Get it up there. Oh. Phyrexians you control gain first strike and death touch. Or incubate twice. Let's just do this. Where did they go? Let's see if this gets tripled. I don't think it does. We might as well incubate twice. Cha! This is nutty. Bombs are nutty in this game. Just nutty. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be for me. Okay. One more of these, and then I'm going to take a game or two. I'm a planeswalker. You're a British planeswalker. I didn't know that planeswalkers come back from the old country. Did you know that? I didn't know that. That's news. Yeah, we're going to take another hit. No. And Phyrexian Center, out. Changes everything. Non-Phyrexian cards come in tapped. Can't block. All their stuff can't go. Looking good, looking good. Like this as a really, really good blocker. And we'll say no on the attack. Keep our sensor alive. Ooh. I can bring you in, give first strike. I think I just do this, right? How many could I get through? I get through 2 on the first strike and get through 2 more on the second. So would I want to trade this guy for 4 of the 1/1s? Yeah. Yeah. Only got through 3, but one was the 2/2. I dig it. Raid bombardment. Oh no. We have the mana for Gliss. Just incubate twice here. First strike. First strike buys him the ability to get right through all that. Phyrexian Sensor works real good with Glissa. She's practically... Dude, she's practically a planeswalker. Like, it's just nuts. Yeah. I think I want the splashes. I think the one splash that I haven't seen so far that is questionable is the late red one. The red and white guy who says that every time you cast a creature, you get to throw a 3-mana fireball at something. Or 3 damage fireball at something. Is there anything I can do it to? Yeah, there is. Get the Sky Warden out there. And if he wants to take the trade, I was going to say that's a good trade for us. Should we go with the battle trick? Yeah, we'll still throw it anyway. We'll put it on you. Billy Rider. Come on in. Get big. Hello. Let's go. Bye-bye. I love the vigilance in that. It's like a little secret that you didn't know about. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Sure. I want to see if it stays on her. Let's see if he's got a trick. He has a trick. How dare you? Good game. Fun. Comes down, drop it onto somebody else. When you attack, tap out, Mr. Guy, get the doubles. Bam, 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 bam. Okay, so just a little recap here. Might be a little unfair to make decisions without playing it some more, but I think I need to take a break and get some work done. And so I think we're going to end this first practice stream here. I don't think I want this in the deck. I don't think I want that in the deck. I don't think First Strike is that amazing. I definitely like this, but it is really hard to make work. So I don't think that that would make the deck. And where's that red and white guy? We ended up not making it. No wonder we're not drawing him. He's not in the deck. Look at me, March of the Machine cards we already have. It's so cool how fast you acquire when you draft. I just think it's insane. Not enough to make a green deck yet. Oh, that's because it's not in standard. It's not legal in standard. That makes so much more sense. Now I understand. Okay, so we'll just discard the changes and we'll go back to our deck to figure out what changes we would make, and then we would call this okay. So let's figure out how to make this thing sing. Might not want you. I mean, you are a lifelinking flyer, though. But just out of argument's sake, if I came down these two, what would I come up on? This invasion or the city on fire? And then we would have to go that way. Ayara's not that good. Jurgles are fun. They die easy, but they're fun. In limited, it seems like that's the right answer. You know, I have a hard time finding weak cards down here. I kind of dig our curve. This is the scariest part. These splashes in the bombs, but they're each worth it. So we'd have 7 black sources, 6 white sources, and then 3 of each of our splash colors. Yeah, I think that's probably the right answer, right? 3 divided by 40 is a 7.5% chance, right? So 1 divided by 0.075. No. 1 divided by 0.075. By turn 6, we should have 1 of each. That's ideal. 3 splashy cards. Gliss is so worth splashing green. Are these 2 worth splashing over this one and this one? Definitely. These 2? Definitely. What if you just stayed green? Both of these are pretty amazing. Oh, they're low. Well, okay. Yeah, they're just so slow and dirtily. These guys would end up with lifelink. And then whenever a white spell, and these are red and white, whenever a white spell does the, oh yeah, no. I'm changing my mind. We're keeping it. Incubate tokens is less important to me than the flyer aspect of this. And the Bola Slinger dropping this and then creating a tap situation is going to allow an attack in. Can easily flip battles with Bola Slinger and Kite Sail. We can create incubate tokens. We can flip in order to have a death touching 3/3 that we could put a Kite Sail on and turn into a flyer. A little bit of our own graveyard hate. I'm not 100% certain that this is the right card for us, but I definitely like the every time a creature enters the battlefield, um, which goes good with this too, right? Because we can turn these things into creatures. So anytime you flip, you get to get a life, and if you do this, you can flip like 4 or 5 tokens at the same time and give out 3 damage to target creature or player. Okay, yeah. I think we're good. I think we're good. This Fire Song and Sunspeaker looks really good. I don't like the art on there, but Glissa's nuts. Getting a Glissa early in this is going to be nice. Okay. What do you say we just try it? Yeah, I think that's fine. 3.4, 17 lands, 7 Phyrexians. Yeah, I think we're going to just try it. I think we know enough now to say, what's the worst that happens, right? We lose. No big deal. No big deal. Play a game or 2, or 3 or 4. Who knows? Who knows? I definitely milk drafts more than most do. I know most people like play a draft and go right in, and it's an hour and a half video, and they're like, "Yay, I got 3 wins or 4 wins." And I feel like I'd rather acquire as much and try to win as much and kind of go back and forth. Well, we've got both of our splash colors out, and we're missing black, but Sculpted Perfection's down the road, and this is down the road. So we have something to do on turn 1, but I think it's a keep because again, the game is about bombs more than it's about, you know, other stuff. Yeah. Oh, cool. He shoots laser beams out his butt cheeks. That's amazing. Um, throw the slow lion so that they don't know that we're mana screwed. Hoping to draw black here. That's a card. I could plane cycle, or I could do this. Plane cycle's not going to help me. Mm-hmm. Good on you. Huh. Um, okay. I guess we'll hold off. This is weird. Can I get a black? That's going to work. Next 3 cards are black. Kind of cool that we can transform him next. No. After we transform him, I might get rid of our Bond Warden. And if they attack in, I'll definitely just chump block with the Bond Warden. Okay, so we are removal city. If we do this, he'll get a +1, which is cool, and we'll get an incubate 2, which we could flip, which is cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I think I just want to flip him. attack. And I might be able to get a card draw out of this? No. Did I lose him already? Yeah, okay. Battle trick. He is bombing out. We need another black, unfortunately. Ha! Ha ha! Let's go. Going for card advantage here. Gonna say bye-bye. I think I'll do this. I don't think I've got any life gain yet, but you got some more. Yeah. Yeah. Bit of a bummer. We're just getting controlled. It's fine. We don't need to activate that. Just kind of leave him back there. I'm going to lose my headset here. Hey. Um. Okay, so we're sitting on 3 removal spells, one in the form of, yeah. Yeah. And I think we just let him take that. Jumping for 2 doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. This is just going to plane cycle right now, so that's not going to do us any good. We do have an invasion, but they would be able to block it. So let's see, what do we got on the mana side here? 1, 2, 3, 4. That would give us 1, 2, 3, 4 left over, which would give us the ability to double block, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, this is 4 and 6, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're a little shy there. So I think what we'll do is enchant this creature right here, right? That way we don't have to deal with the doubling of 10-10. That's okay. He just has hexproof now. I do think that we could throw this out, and then we could double attack. I think 1 is fine. Yeah, we'll do 2. We'll do 2. It's not sorcery speed. That sucks. That's okay, though. I'll take that. It's a happy trade. Click end. He'll have a 4/4, which is better than a 10/10. Mm-hmm. What's he get? I don't know. Oh my god. That's huge. I hate it. Come here, you. Congratulations. You flipped it for a 2/2. Yeah, I think we just hold on. Hmm. So what's this card going to do? It's going to go plus, and it's going to give him back his 8/8. I'll take 5, 6, 7. I think no. Yeah. I think no. Get a couple bodies. And we hold on to the removal spell. We'll just put a flyer up on top. Let's say end. Okay. Oh, he gets to pick? Ah! That did not pan out. That did not pan out. It's not the end of the world, but it didn't go so well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, I can do both. Seriously, do you always have the counter? Like, you drive me crazy. What could you possibly be doing right now? What does this do? Ah! And a holy frazzle cannon, huh? Well, it gives a +1 whenever equipped creature attacks, but we don't have any equipment on anything, so we'll just all attack here. And then put a big old body out there to make life tough. I don't have anything. Um, he's got 2 blocks. But yeah, no, I'll just take the 3/3 damage right now, right? If I can get one more creature, I might be able to make the block happen. Mm-hmm. 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 I do dig it. So we'll say all attack. See what he wants to give up. puts him down to a 3/3, which we can chump block if we need to. Okay. Put the frazzle cannon. Oh, we got a win! Yeah. I'm kind of really glad that I practiced with the deck because I didn't see how important these kinds of creatures are. And I got to learn a lot on that one. Like pulling his battle off the field. I don't know if it was better or worse, but he never got a chance to attack with a 9/9. And that's pretty impressive. And this is an uncommon. So an uncommon hits the deck, and then it just continually eats into their creatures as a removal spell. That's not bad. That's definitely worth looking into. Other cards that we faced were the Elvish Batkeeper, which wasn't that scary. He didn't utilize it, the 5 mana to do it. He kind of wanted to affect the board. The Cosmic Hunger on the trapped creature was so good. It was so good. So we'll claim that. And we got a bunch more, like gold. Not sure how. Oh, you know why? Because it was such a long game that we completed the quests over here. That's why. That makes a lot of sense. Such a blast. That was really good. It is 10:30, so I'm going to take a quick break. I've got some things I get done today, and we will come back later to finish up some of the games. I love the fact that we're starting 1-0. That's such a cool spot to be in. And yeah, we 2 more wins makes this like just an enormous success because we got all these rare cards, we got all these experiences, we got all these green cards we can start to like bang out. I do think though that the set completion should come a lot easier than other sets in the past. That's one thing that I wanted to look at. We'll just discard any changes. I thought the mana felt fine there. Of course, it was a longer game, and we didn't have anything coming at us in rapid fire on the aggro side of things. And that might be the nature of the beast. We might have gotten rid of aggro just in general, which would be so good. Thank God. 3 out of 20 mythics, 8 out of 65 rares. So 85 total combo. And if I'm looking at, not Shadows over Innistrad, right, but like Phyrexia will be 1, they are quadrupling this. So 340 is about the same as 85. That's identical. It just didn't feel like there were that many rares looking at the list, but they're there. They're the same. Cool beans. Cool beans. Um, all right, so far so good. We'll take a break, and I will catch you guys for the second round of games. We'll just do nothing but games on the next one, no more practicing. I feel like the deck is in good shape. It's slow, but man, it's got the ability to handle some of their bombs, and it's got the ability for us to dump some of ours, and I think that that's huge. So I like what we did there, kind of bait them into showing us their hand, and then utilizing our removal spells at that point, as opposed to us trying to get aggro and get in. I also think that transforming the creatures that are just 1/1s and moving them up in the middle is a great way to continue to have cards in your hand. One thing to look at is to say, if I'm running a transform spell, that's a bunch of mana getting used, and that's a card not leaving my hand. And so it's almost like getting a card draw, right? It's almost like having that removal spell still ready to go while turning a 1/1 into a like almost like putting a 2/2 out, or getting a 3/3 that's got some kind of advantage when it strikes home kind of deal. If you pick the right ones on the transform side of things, I think you can overcome the battle not the battles. I'm sorry, overcome the bomb situation that's happening, and figuring out which cards transform the best, that have like the best kind of payoff for them, is probably the thing that we know the least about. So, these are the cards that we've got that transform, although this one just transforms the incubate tokens. This thing transforms for only 3 mana, and it becomes that trample ward 2 prowess that starts at 3/3. This is a beast, dude. So like this is an uncommon card that I think is probably going to play better than most of the rares that looks better than this rare, like for sure. The transfer on this is good. It does kind of create like a squee like additional artifact or creature card that just jumps up there and attacks and then disappears. But it's going into exile, so you're gonna. It's kind of a late game sort of card. It's not a on turn 3 you really need to cast this thing. I think that the sacrifice late is better. This man, what a amazing ability. Having Death Touch, and then that means you're going to get home quite a bit. Getting home with this guy, whoo, whoo, get a card, looking good. And then this thing doesn't transform; it just transforms the incubate tokens along with this. So, um, as long as you control a permanent, this thing can draw a card when it hits home. That's kind of cool too. And of course, we could look at the not collected and see that transform is a major theme in here. There are 127, 28, 29, 30, 30 cards that transform. And so, uh, you know, but you don't need this to transform. It's fun if you do, but you don't need it, right? This thing does transform, um, but it's just kind of gains flying, right? 3 mana. So gain flying is a yeah. That's pretty good. I mean, that's better than the card and equipment. I also think that this one's pretty nuts too. Put +1 counter on that token for each +1 counter that you have on this creature. So you're just dumping things onto this guy after she transforms, and I think that's going to be solid too. I say girl, guy. I'll go with girl, just because of those kissable lips. Yep. Nizumi Freewheeler transforms into a menacing 4/5. Not bad. 5 is pretty expensive. 4 to get it down, kind of expensive. But then you get to put a target permanent card with a mana value 2 or less from the graveyard back onto the battlefield under your control. So getting this guy, to bring back some of those other cards that we had, I think, I don't know. I don't know. This one already has flying. It's already hitting for 2. Look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it on the battlefield. And if you don't put the card on the battlefield, you can put the card into your hand. So um, maybe no. Oh, that's pretty awesome. Roan is amazing. Okay, you should be drafting this card. You can draw a card and discard a card, so you can always clean if she's 1/3 and you didn't have to deal with the attack kind of thing. So not bad. And then on the flip side of that, you can pop her open. She becomes a 5/5 with trample, and then essentially, whenever she takes damage, she either gains their land and puts it under our control, or she gains a card that we can cast without paying its mana cost. That's awesome. Rona's Rona's way better than she looks. This is really good too. So this thing can trade up into a 4/4, and there are a lot of things with 4 toughness. Most of the battles transfer into things that with 4 toughness, and you can kind of see that by the way too. 3 toughness, 2 toughness, 2 toughness, 2 toughness. Here's a 5 toughness, but it's a praetor, right? 4 toughness, but it's a god. So they really tried to keep the praetors and the gods above a certain line, and then everybody else below that line, right? So not a lot of cards coming in that aren't in the rare and above that have that 4 toughness. So transforming can definitely be a way to compete against some of those larger cards that are in the deck. And again, like this is a flying angel. This is a human knight. Interesting. Whenever another knight enters the battlefield, it gets a +1, and it only costs 3. So a 3/3 for 3 that has a +1 is pretty cool. A Phyrexian Pegasus? When it attacks another target attacking creature without flying gains flying. Awesome. There's just so many good things. So I'm going to go in now. I'm going to call it fun